More than 10,000 without power, planes submerged, homes destroyed, and hundreds of rescues made overnight.
We have heroes on the ground who have been out all night. We deployed literally every boat we could get our hands on, and more help is on the way.
Over a metre of rainfall has battered parts of far north Queensland, wreaking havoc in the wake of ex-tropical cyclone Jasper, cutting off communities and forcing towns to evacuate.
It is absolutely unprecedented.
Yeah.
We've never seen anything like it. It's amazing. I mean, we've had a lot of cyclones over the years, but this is something quite unique.
The Defence Force now called in to provide additional flood relief.
Well, we will deliver along with the Queensland Government whatever is necessary. The important thing at this point in time is to ensure that people are kept safe.
It comes after 9 people spent the night stranded on the roof of a health clinic in the Indigenous community of Wudjil.
We have one 7-year-old child who is a patient, but I've been advised that that child is in a very stable condition and has been able to receive treatment.
Authorities tried to evacuate the entire community today, but had to abandon the attempt due to severe conditions.
Most of those communities are totally isolated, and it's a real challenge getting those resources in. The water is moving so fast in that area. Wudjil received over 260 millimetres of rain last night alone.
Meanwhile, the city of Cairns grappled with a critically low supply of drinking water today, after the floods smashed through its infrastructure system.
We want people to conserve water. Crews are there right now. They're working hard to try and unblock, and hopefully that will happen. But it is just a race against time.
Over in the North Queensland town of Ingham, this nearly 3-metre croc was spotted, making the most of the wet. But with communities rushing to stockpile supplies and Cairns airport still closed, with all flights on hold, will this be the flood that stole Christmas?
Michael Kerr is Mayor of the Douglas Shire and is here to give us the latest. Michael, thank you for being with us. What is the situation in Port Douglas right now?
Well, Port Douglas, out of my whole shire, has probably been the least hit. You know, Port Douglas, we didn't get flooding inundation. Yes, we got belted by that cyclone that came through, lots of debris around, lots of trees being damaged, but it's Mossman and north of Mossman for my shire that has been absolutely inundated since Cyclone Jasper came.
There seems to be a bit of conjecture about the warnings that were given by the Bureau of Meteorology. The Premier of Queensland sort of been defending it seems. From your perspective, were you given adequate warning of not just the storm but the flooding?
You know, we did what we could with the knowledge we had. The BOM, we contacted them and asked them for a report. They gave a report back to us saying we were going to cop around 350 mils of rain that evening. We well and truly did. We copped about 350 mils in Port Douglas and 350 mils in Douglas, in Mossman, and then obviously around 600 mils in Daintree that night. You know, so it was a really unusual storm. But no, we weren't ready for this at all.
Do you think, in a sense, the focus on the storm distracted the authorities and the community from what they really needed to prepare for, which quite evidently was the flooding?
Yeah, well, as I said, we got off really lightly with the cyclone. The cyclone came through, it gave us a bit of a belting, there's a little bit of damage, but this rain, this has been non-stop and come through, and it's absolutely decimated areas of the Shire. The Daintree River, that's up to 15 metres above what it normally is, which means it's inundated all through our residents of Wonga. All their houses have been completely submerged with water. The Mossman River broke its banks as well. We had water running the whole way down Front Street up to the council chambers and the evacuation centre, which we had to bag as well to ensure that that stayed dry and safe. So we weren't ready for these things. We certainly didn't expect it, but you know, we've done everything we possibly can to do what we can with the resources we've got, which are very limited because it's the same people on the ground that we started with on Tuesday, and they've been working non-stop right through to now, and they're absolutely exhausted.
What help does the community need the most right now?
Well, at the moment, we need water, we need food, we need people on the ground, and that's the big one, is getting people on the ground. All these communities that I've got are completely isolated, so people can't get to them by road at the moment. A lot of the roads are washed away or they're still submerged in water. You know, so this is why we've put the SOS out today, and to guarantee we need the army here, we need the military. We've got to get people into these areas to be able to ensure the safety of the residents that are there, because we just can't get to them at the moment, and we know there's some serious flooding issues.
You mentioned the Defence Force there. We've heard they are being sent in, but how difficult is it for the rescue crews to even get in to be able to help?
Well, it's extremely difficult because the weather is still been raining, and it's very hard to get the helicopters in whilst it's raining. So they've had to wait until they can get the helicopters in the air. We have seen some flying today, which has been great. Hopefully we will see the Army choppers in tomorrow and bringing resources in that we desperately need, especially, as I said, some of these communities have not had power, telecom or water now for 3 or 4 days.
Michael, thank you for your time. Stay safe.
Thank you.
It's going to be a pretty tough Christmas for a lot of people in Far North Queensland.
Yeah.
You know, think about the stress that you have just without all of these problems. For these communities that are cut off, it's going to be pretty tough.
Well, there's also no quick solution, right? Because one, you've got to wait for the floodwaters to recede, and then the big cleanup starts.
The cleanup.
And that's
Astronomical
weeks
amount
and
of water
weeks.
being 15 metres above the river level there. Unbelievable.